cakes, main dishes, and more. First up is a traditional Good Friday sweet roll, the Hot Cross Bun. These spiced, fruit-filled yeast rolls may just replace cinnamon rolls as your go-to breakfast bun. This bread recipe is going a little bit off the rails. We're going to start with 1½ cups of all-purpose flour, and we're going to cut in 4 tablespoons of butter, just like a pastry recipe. Then we're going to add 1 package of yeast, 1 teaspoon of spice mix, now this is a pumpkin pie spice mix, 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1/3 cup of sugar. We're just going to mix that to incorporate. Okay, then I'm just using my regular old pastry knife to do this. Alright, these don't need to be perfect, they just need to be cut up so that they're able to be mixed in well. Okay, let's go ahead and add the other dry ingredients. Okay, next we add the sugar, the salt, the spice mix, and the yeast. And we're just going to mix this by hand with the paddle. Okay, next we have our dried fruit. This is a 1 cup measuring cup that I filled all the way to the top because we need 1¼ cups of dried fruit. I've got it fairly evenly distributed between golden raisins, dried currants, and craisins. Those need to go in here and we just need to mix it by hand. Okay, now that this is combined, we're going to add 1 beaten egg, plus 1/2 cup of water and 1/2 cup of whole milk that's been heated to about 115 degrees. Okay, now that we don't have to worry about flour or fruit flying all over the kitchen, we're going to go ahead and put this on the mixer and let it mix on medium-low for a few minutes. That way we can make sure our sugar is dissolved, our salt is dissolved, and we start activating the yeast. Okay, that's about ready. That was about 2½ minutes. Alright, we need to scrape down the sides. Okay, and then we need to add 1 cup of flour and change over to the dough hook. Then this is going on low. Okay, this is still really loose, so I'm going to go ahead and add another 1/2 cup of flour. Okay, this does need to form into a bread dough, so we're still going to need at least another 1/4 cup or so of flour. Okay, back on low. Okay, we want this dough to be soft, but we don't want it to be sticky, and it's not. So this is ready to go in the bowl for its first rise. Okay, we're just going to knead this into shape. And then I've got a melamine bowl here that I've coated with nonstick cooking spray. We're just going to coat both sides, and then I'm going to put this in my unheated oven to rise. We're going to let that dough rise until it doubles. That should take almost an hour. Once this dough is done rising, we're going to divide it into 12 even pieces. Now, because this recipe only makes 12 rolls, I'm not going to put it on a half sheet. I'm just going to put it on a jelly roll pan. This will need to be sprayed with just a little bit of nonstick cooking spray. Okay, we're going to redistribute the air bubbles and then cut this into 12 even pieces. Okay, and then we're going to take each piece of dough and we're going to roll it on this dry countertop until it forms a nice round bun. Okay, and then these are going on this pan and we're going to press them flat just a little bit. All right, we'll do that with the rest of them. Okay, these are going back in that unheated oven to rise for an additional 45 minutes. Unlike grocery store hot cross buns, which is just a foil pan of sweet rolls with frosting crosses, we're going to be marking these buns with paste. That's just flour and water. So I've got about half of a cup of flour and I've got some water. We're going to be whisking this in until it reaches the proper consistency. Now that's squeezable, but not runny. All right, so I'm just going to add a couple of tablespoons to begin with. A couple more tablespoons. All right, we need this just a little thinner. Probably 2 more tablespoons. All right, that's still just a tiny bit too thick. Probably just another teaspoon of water. There we go. All right, this is perfect. All right, now to mark these as easily and as cleanly as possible, I'm going to be using a candy squeeze bottle. So I'm just going to go ahead and put my paste in here and then we'll mark the buns when they're ready. Okay, I've got my oven preheated to 400 degrees and I do have the speed bake on. While this is preheating, we're going to go ahead and mark these buns. Okay, these go in the oven for 15 minutes. While these buns bake, we're going to make the glaze. Now that's very simple. It's just a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar and about 1 tablespoon of whole milk. We're going to mix this together and then it's going to be brushed on those buns once they come out. These are hot cross buns, but we can't eat them right away. They're just too hot. But we don't have to wait too long, probably between 10 and 15 minutes. So once that time's up, we're going to give these a taste. These buns are still nice and toasty from the oven, but I'm not going to wait any longer. Let's give these a taste. Soft and moist, so fruity, perfect.